CISD, or change in the state of delivery, is one of the most important ICT concepts. So in today's video, I'm going to break it down. This was very highly requested, and I'm going to go over examples of what it is, how to spot them, and then some trade examples using CISD as a confluence and kind of helping you guys apply it to your trading skills because, like I said, it's a very important concept to understand. So a change in the state of delivery. Basically, this is kind of just a rough sketch, and I'm going to move down to a candle example in a second. But a change in the state of delivery is going to look something like this, right? So say you have a move up, you make a swing low, right? Just a proper uptrend. Then you make a new swing high. That swing high is going to take out some important liquidity or tap into some type of fair value gap, okay? That's the key. And once you see that, you're looking for a reversal. And what the reversal is going to look like is a candle closure below the body of this swing low, right? And that's a bearish example. Now, the exact opposite with a bullish example, right? So you have a move, a downtrend, you make a swing high, you displace away from it, make a new swing low, take out some liquidity or tap into a gap while you make it. And then the same thing happens just in reverse, right? You displace above, you get a close. And so here is what it's going to look like on the charts. All right. So you're going to have this uptrend, right? You make this swing low right here in this wick, and then you're going to move up again, right? Continue the uptrend. You're going to make a swing high. You're going to take out some important liquidity or tap into some higher time frame fair value gap or both. And then you want to see displacement away from that and then through the previous swing low. Now, the key with CISDs that people do not always grasp is that it has entirely to do with the body of this candle on this swing low in a bearish example and not the wick. So say this wick extended all the way down to here, right? Even though this candle closes right here and not down here, this is still a change in the state of delivery because it is closing below the body of the last series of up close candles, right? So it has to close below the body of the last series of up close candles. Then the same thing with a bullish change in the state, right? So you make a swing high right here, you have a wick, you come down, sweep out a key area or tap into a gap, and then you displace through the previous series of down close candles. But the wick does not matter here. It is all about the bodies with the CISD, which is the most important concept to understand because a lot of people get that wrong. It's about the bodies, not the wicks. Now, another thing, you notice that this CISD right here, this example of a CISD that I drew is a series of 3 candles. Now, it doesn't always have to be that, right? So, for example, if it was just one candle that made this move up, right? I'm just kind of trying to move this drawing in real time. If it was just this candle, okay, and then we immediately just start reversing and we get something like this, that's still a change in the state of delivery, right? As long as this candle pushed up and took out some type of important key area, it's a valid CISD to use for a trade, right? So it doesn't have to be the last series of up close. It can just be the last up close, right? But you're looking for that last swing low in the case of an uptrend or the last swing high in the case of a downtrend and looking for displacement through that, all right? That's a change in the state of delivery. Now, with all of that out of the way, with all the conceptual stuff out of the way, let's talk about how to use these. Now, if you guys are familiar with the ICT 2022 model, you probably already understand where these come into play and how useful they can really be. So right here, we have a pretty solid example of a change in the state. We have this move right here, right, where we have these little relative equal highs, this buy side liquidity. We take it all out, okay, and then we have this series of up close candles that actually has a bullish fair value gap, which isn't requisite, but it helps, right? And you see that we disrespect that, and we come down, we sell off, close below that last series of up close candles, and then in the process, as you can probably tell, we also create a bearish fair value gap. And so that's another thing you can obviously combine CISDs with, and it works best when you have one, right? When you have a strong displacement through the lows for this bearish example, you're often going to form a bearish fair value gap on whatever time frame you're looking for the CISD on. And that's very important because, like I said, that's going to allow you to take a trade once you retest that gap, right? And that's honestly, in essence, the ICT 2022 model, which is why it's good, right? And so you can see at this point, we have this draw on liquidity, right? It's a low that has not been taken. It's a relative equal low here. So you can expect if we draw back into this gap, you'll be able to short down to that. And you have this very obvious swing low that looks like very manipulative, right? Or manipulative. So you're going to have a lot of orders there. That's going to be liquidity. So you would have been able to get in, and the very next candle, we have really nice continuation, and we hit the low that I was saying would be a good target, right? And if you get in that trade, you have a short setup, limit sell at the opening of this gap, and you target that low, right? It's like a 1.7 to 1, put your stop loss at the swing high, or you could put it above the fair value gap that's created in the change in the state. Either one works, but yeah, that's a pretty textbook example of a change in the state. Now, they're also very, very useful on higher time frames, right? Because you can use it to kind of develop a bias when it comes to swing trades or just like what side you're looking to play. So, for example, the other day, if you look at this ES 4-hour chart, I immediately started looking for longs at 10 a.m. because of specifically a bullish change in the state of delivery that we got on the 4-hour chart. So if I go into replay mode, you can see this was the 10 a.m. candle close, right? Opened at 6 a.m., closed at 10 a.m., and we had a bullish change in the state here. Now, the reason why this is important, all right? Well, there's several. First of all, we have swept out all of these relative equal lows in this range. So we have taken liquidity, which means we have taken out a key level, so we can use it as a valid CISD. Then you have this series of down close candles, and what do? We close above it. So you don't necessarily have the ability to take a trade just off that. If you're trading like futures, prop firms, if you're scalping, for example, you're not going to enter off a 4-hour chart if you're taking, 5 to 10 minute trades. But what you can absolutely do is identify this now as a new condition in the market. Remember, because at 9:30 open, right, when the market opened, this had not happened yet, right? We had not closed this 4-hour. We had not created a change in the state. We were still actually hovering around this 4-hour bearish gap because we had not closed through it at the time. But we ended up rallying, and by 10 a.m., we had created this change in the state. So that brings my bias from neutral, or I'll see what happens, to excessively bullish throughout the rest of the day. And if you go down now to like the lower time frame on the same day, you can see that that ended up working out, and we got a really clean delivery up to all of these highs, right? There was some turbulence because it was a pretty news-filled day, but we get a very clean move up to the first set of highs, right after that change in the state. I actually did take longs off this the other day. We get the 4-hour bullish change in the state to confirm that we're bullish, right? Then we have this 5-minute gap that we create, right? We tap back into it. I catch the expansion out of here up to these highs. And then later in the day, because we were staying bullish on the 4-hour chart, we had some turbulence and it didn't really matter, right? We had this wick, and the next 4-hour, we just end up running up and taking all of the liquidity. So like I said, you can also really utilize changing the state of delivery on higher time frames, and you're not going to enter a trade purely off it, obviously, but you can catch some very, very good moves because you have switched your bias or confirmed a certain condition in the market that's going to allow you to catch the rest of the move. So yeah, hopefully this made sense to you guys, right? Changing the state of delivery can be used for your lower time frame entries if you stack it up with some other good confluences like liquidity sweeps and fair value gaps. And it can also be used to develop a higher time frame narrative. And you want to watch throughout the day on the higher time frames to see if any significant changes in the state of delivery occur, because if they do, chances are you'll be able to capitalize on that move even on the lower time frames if you just keep your eyes peeled. So one more time, this is what they look like, right? Bearish example, bullish example. The body is what matters as long as it closes above the last series of down close body wise in a bullish scenario, or below the last series of up close body wise in a bearish scenario. That is a change in the state of delivery that you can use, assuming you swept or tapped a key level or a key area. So I appreciate you all for watching. If you're still watching this video, you're probably interested in trading and you're probably serious about it. If that's the case, make sure to like and sub so you catch all my educational content, and join my free trading Discord. Yes, it is completely free. It'll be linked in the description, and you guys can hop in there, ask questions. I'm live sometimes, all that good stuff. I appreciate interacting with the community. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.